I'm all rest up because the Oscar nominations are just around the corner. And in this video, I'm going to give you my predictions on who will get nominated. And I'm also going to tell you who should win and who will ultimately win at the Academy Awards in 2024. In case you want to jump to a particular category, feel free to go through my comment section or through the description and click on the timestamp that you want. And you will directly be able to see that particular category predictions instead of going through the entire video. So let's begin with the first category. In Best Supporting Actor, I have Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer as my number one. In number two, I have Ryan Gosling for Barbie. In number three, I have Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. At number four, I have Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. And at number five, I have Dominic Sessa for The Holdovers. The surprise one here, I think it's pretty obvious. It's Dominic Sessa. Many people have not included him in their list. I think that he is going to make it because The Holdovers is gaining a lot of steam lately. I think people are ignoring him because he's just young, but I think that the Oscars are going to reward him with at least a nomination. In terms of the misses, I think Willem Dafoe is not going to get nominated. I think Mark Ruffalo instead will get nominated for Poor Things. Some of the lists that I saw have Willem Dafoe in it, but I don't think that he's going to make it. Some people have also suggested that Sterling K. Brown is going to make it for American Fiction. I would love that particular nomination in case that happens, but for this sake and for this particular video, I'm going to stick with Dominic Sessa and Mark Ruffalo. In terms of who is going to win and who should win, I think that Robert Downey Jr. is going to win and he absolutely should win. There are some people who think that Ryan Gosling has a shot at this. Personally, I am not the biggest fan of his performance. Like, I do think he's the best part of the movie, but in terms of Oscar caliber performance, I don't think Ryan Gosling deserves it. Like, I don't think it's Oscar caliber. I think the range that Ryan Gosling shows in Barbie is amazing. Don't get me wrong, I love the performance, but in terms of Oscar caliber, in terms of competing with guys like Robert De Niro, Mark Ruffalo, and Dominic Sessa, I just don't think he has the win here. In Best Supporting Actress, I have Dwayne Joy Randolph for The Holdovers as my number one. In number two, I have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer. In number three, I have Jodie Foster for Nyad. In number four, I have Penelope Cruz for Ferrari. And at number five, I have Daniel Brooks for The Color Purple. I think the surprise here for many of you would be the inclusion of Penelope Cruz, but I think that she gets in front of Julianne Moore for May December. I don't think Julianne Moore or even May December has generated that sort of buzz that was expected this particular Oscar season. I think Netflix is lacking behind actually. Their most major movie is Maestro, and even that is going downhill. Like, it's losing all the steam possible for good and bad reasons both. Maestro probably demands its own video on what went wrong and what went right and what exactly went there. But I think this category, like Best Supporting Actor, is also sealed. Like, Dwayne Joy Randolph is going to win, and she deserves to win. When you watch The Holdover, she's the heart and soul of the movie. Many times, there are just a couple of scenes that with her that impacted me so much that when I walked out of the movie, I was thinking about those two or three scenes, and Dwayne Joy Randolph was in those scenes. So yeah, a very memorable performance and a very deserving win here as well. In Best International Feature, I have The Zone of Interest as my number one. In number two, I have Society of the Snow. In number three, I have The Taste of Things. In number four, I have The Teachers. And in number five, I have 20 Days in Mariupol. I think The Zone of Interest is going to win the Oscar because, spoiler alert, it's also going to get nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. But just one thing that I wanted to highlight, my personal favorite from this list is Society of the Snow. Like, I can't rave enough about Society of the Snow. I don't know why it's getting snubbed in each and every category, including Best Picture and other categories like Screenplay as well. It's an outstanding movie. It's in my top three movies of 2023. And in case you have not seen Society of the Snow, do watch it. It's not for everyone, but I would say it's for anyone who is a cinephile, who's open minded, and who can tolerate a bit of violence and a bit of adversity. So, but yeah, The Zone of Interest will win. And what should win for me, at least here, is actually Society of the Snow. So here I will disagree with what the Academy actually awards. I don't think Society of the Snow wins. If it actually wins, I'm going to jump out of my seat. I'm going to be ecstatic. But there's no way that's going to happen because The Zone of Interest is going to get nominated for Best Picture, but Society of the Snow will never get nominated for Best Picture. In Best Cinematography, I always have trouble pronouncing cinematography for some reason, but here I have Hoyte van Hoyteme for Oppenheimer as my number one. He's a clear favorite to win. He's going to win this Oscar easily. In number two, I have Killers of the Flower Moon. In number three, Poor Things, followed by Maestro. And then a movie called El Conde that I have not seen, but from all the posters that I have seen and all the buzz that I am hearing, it's a very beautiful movie to look at. So I have it at my number five. Maestro will get nominated because it's kind of an Oscar darling that will get nominated a lot, but it's not going to win a lot. It will be one of those movies where a lot of people love it, but because of the backlash and the fact that it's not as great as it was initially expected is the reason Maestro will continue losing steam, but it will still get nominated in many of these categories just because it's Maestro, it's Bradley Cooper. He has actually directed a very good movie, I think. I don't think the movie is bad. It's not as great as it should be to compete with the best pictures. That's all I'm saying. So, number two is Killers of the Flower Moon. But again, this particular category is also sealed. Oppenheimer is going to win this easily. And Poor Things is also a very beautiful movie, but I just don't think it's going to compete with Oppenheimer. So, in Best Production Design, I have Barbie winning actually at number one. Then I have Oppenheimer at number two, Killers of the Flower Moon at number three, Poor Things at number four, and Maestro as my number five. So this category is not a done deal, but I would say that if there's a category where Barbie wins, it could definitely be this category. Like the sets of Barbie and the production design of Barbie is the best part of Barbie. I would say the scenes in Barbie land, they feel so authentic and lived in and real that you are immersed in that world completely, and production design is like the MVP there. Without the great production design, that movie never starts actually. Like I'm, as it is, not a very big fan of Barbie, but if you remove the production design, there's very few things there. Don't get me wrong, the script is still good, but without that production design, the movie would never have reached the heights that it did. Barbie is going to take this Oscar in my predictions, and I think it should win as well. Barbie is going to take this one against Oppenheimer, which is one of the rare instances where Oppenheimer is going to get defeated by Barbie, but this is one of those categories. Next up is Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Here I have Maestro as my number one, Poor Things as my number two, Oppenheimer as my number three, Golda as my number four, and Barbie as my number five. I think Maestro wins it just because how Bradley Cooper was able to transform himself into different versions of Leonard Bernstein throughout his life, and it felt totally authentic. Like you could hate Maestro, but you cannot hate the look or how the makeup of both Felicia and Leonard and all the people during that particular time. So yeah, best makeup and hairstyling. Poor Thing still has a shot. I think Oppenheimer still has a shot because in a similar way to Maestro, Oppenheimer also goes through a lot of phases and the makeup is absolutely brilliant. And also the number of historical characters in Oppenheimer is so large, and they have done justice to almost each and every one of them. So Oppenheimer also has a chance. This category is actually a toss up. I think anyone could win, but I have Maestro as my number one, and I think it should win as well, and I think it will win as well. In Best Costume Design, I have Barbie in number one. I have Oppenheimer as my number two, Killers of the Flower Moon at number three, Poor Things at number four, and then Maestro at number five. Again, this is another category where Barbie gets to beat Oppenheimer. I may be wrong. Maybe Barbie does not win this one. Maybe Oppenheimer wins it. But in terms of the costumes, you can't deny that Barbie has, first of all, a lot of Barbies, a lot of Kens, one Adam as well, and all the costumes that they wear at different points of the movie. You can't just deny it's beautiful, it's amazing. Oppenheimer can win this as well. There is a scenario that Oppenheimer sweeps actually everything. Like it sweeps even production design, it sweeps best costume design, but I don't think that's going to happen. I do think there will be some love shared. Barbie will get a win in one or two categories, and I think best costume design is among those one or two categories where Barbie gets its win open over Oppenheimer. In terms of the other movies, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, Maestro, I think these three are movies that are going to be seen as nominations in many categories, but I don't see them winning many Oscars. In terms of the technical aspects, I think Barbie and Oppenheimer, as you can see the trend, it's pretty similar going on in this video as well. Barbie and Oppenheimer, either one of those two are going to take away a lot of the technical awards at least. Next, we have Best Sound. In Best Sound, again, I have Oppenheimer winning this award. Then Killers of the Flower Moon. At number three, I actually have The Zone of Interest. At number four, I have Ferrari. And at number five, I have Barbie. So this is different from original score. Sound means that how you use sound throughout the movie. Like, for example, when someone is going up the stairs, when someone is going down the stairs, when someone is writing on the board, how that particular sound is recorded, how that sound appears to us. And that's the reason I am including The Zone of Interest, because I have heard that it's a movie that relies highly on sound, and the sound design that they have done on this that movie is incredible. That's the same reason Ferrari is on this particular list. I don't think anyone rates Ferrari as a great movie, but it's here because I've heard that the sound is amazing in that movie. And Barbie, obviously, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Oppenheimer are the usual suspects here. And I actually have again Oppenheimer winning this award as well. Next, I have Best Original Score. I think I'm just repeating myself again and again. Again, I have Oppenheimer as my number one, then Killers of the Flower Moon, then The Zone of Interest. But I do have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yay, hooray, finally. Across the Spider-Verse gets a nomination. We'll see later in the video if it gets a Best Picture nomination, but at least it will get, hopefully it will get a nomination for Best Original Score. And at number 5, I have Poor Things. I am pretty confident about these predictions. Again, the Zone of Interest is getting nominated in a lot of these categories just because the Oscars are very international. They have many members who are now from the international bodies as well. And I think movies like The Zone of Interest or Anatomy of a Fall or Past Lives will get love during this Oscar season just because the Academy has become so international. But again, this is a lock. Ludwig Göransson is going to win for Oppenheimer. He should win. He will win. In Best Original Song, I really don't care about this category. I never understood this particular category. So if a particular movie, like most movies, don't have any song in it, it cannot compete here. Like you're dealing with such a small pool of movies that have songs in them. Like such a small amount of movies, like Barbie could end up getting 3 nominations here. Like the ones I've chosen is I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For. But Dance the Night from Dua Lipa could make this as well. But I have not included it just because it would be Barbie mayhem. But again, this just shows why this category is pointless and should be removed, easily removed. The one category that we won the Oscar for last year, Triple R won it for Best Original Song, and I'm an Indian, so I should celebrate it. But it's totally pointless, I would say. Like nothing to take away from these nominees. I'm sure these I think these songs are great, but there is no point in having a Best Original Song because the number of pool of movies are so less. It's like it's just insane. But again, if I had to pick one, I would say that I'm Just Ken is going to win the award. And if I think any particular song should win, I think it's again I'm Just Ken because of the impact it had on the movie. What Was I Made For is a very close second because it's also a very emotional scene. But I'm Just Ken is just like the anthem of the year, you could say. So I have it at my number one. And at number 3, I have The Fire Inside for a movie called Flaming Hot. Yeah, it's something to do with Cheetos, but I don't know like anything about this movie. Like I have not seen it. I don't think I'm going to see it. At number 4, we have Road to Freedom by Lenny Kravitz for Rustin. And at number 5, I have It Never Went Away by John Batiste for American Symphony. Again, I have not seen this particular movie, but this particular song has generated a lot of buzz, so that's why I've included it. But again, one of the Barbie songs is going to win it. It's a done deal. And I think for this video, I'm going to say it's going to be I'm Just Ken. Next, we have a huge one, Best Original Screenplay. So here, one interesting thing I have to talk about this, about the screenplay, is that Barbie is now in Best Adapted Screenplay, which is totally insulting. It's ludicrous. It's disgusting. Like any negative adjective you can add, like for this particular thing that the Academy has done. This has not happened at the WGA, the Writers Guild Awards. This has not happened at the BAFTAs. This has not happened at any other award show. But for some reason, the Academy decided Barbie, okay, it's best adapted. It's totally adapted from something. From where? No idea. And Maestro is totally original screenplay. Like a movie on Leonard Bernstein, a particular person, probably a lot of books written about that particular person. Sure, he did not adapt it. If not books, then a lot of bios. You can find a lot of material online. You can find, I'm sure there would be some short story about Leonard Bernstein written by some particular guy out there. There has to be. But correctly, Maestro is best original screenplay. I'm not debating that Maestro should be best adapted. It should be an original because it is taking something from a person's life, but there has not been a particular book about him, and he has not adapted his story from that particular book. He has written a totally original story, not crediting that particular book. So that's the reason Maestro is totally fine to be in best original screenplay. Again, in that similar way, Barbie also has to be here in this category. The fact that Barbie is not clearly shows that the Academy has lost its mind here. Like I usually don't say this, but that's just true here. So again, with Barbie going to the best adapted category, that category has become very stacked. But let's first talk about best original screenplay. So in this category, I actually have Anatomy of a Fall as my number one, followed by The Holdovers, then Maestro, then Past Lives, and then May December. So I think it's going to be a very, very close race between Anatomy of a Fall and The Holdovers. Like, this is one of those categories that I'm really unsure about. I think The Holdovers could win as much as Anatomy of a Fall. If I had to personally give it, I would say Anatomy of a Fall, and that's why I have given it the edge in actually who will win as well. But it could definitely be my personal bias. Like, The Holdovers is also a terrific movie, and it's one of those movies that has gained so much steam that it could potentially be the threat to Oppenheimer in many categories. It could pull off a big upset, I'm telling you. Like, I don't want it to happen because Oppenheimer is my number one movie, but The Holdovers can definitely take at least one big award, and I don't want that. But again, it could start with best original screenplay. If the Holdovers wins best original screenplay, there could be a big shock for best picture. Like, it could happen. I'm not saying it will happen, it's not predicted, but this is the category that starts it all. If the Holdovers manages to win this, then anything could happen at the biggest award, the best picture. So, but yeah, currently I have Anatomy of a Fall winning it. It should win. I think it will win. But again, the Holdovers, it's just right there. It's just there. And then in best adapted screenplay, like I discussed, here Barbie is there, but I have Oppenheimer winning it over Killers of the Flower Moon and the others. I think that this is a pretty done deal. I think Oppenheimer wins this particular award. I don't think Killers of the Flower Moon has any steam. Barbie is going to get nominated, and the nomination is the win here. American Fiction is my number five. I think it gets nominated and it deserves it, but I don't think I don't see it as a threat. Then we move on to best visual effects. In best visual effects, I actually have the creator as my number one. What a refreshing pick! I love this. And then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as my number two, followed by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Society of the Snow, and then Godzilla Minus One. Personally, I would pick between the creator and Society of the Snow because I love both these movies, but I will give this Oscar to the creator because that movie was made at such a low budget. I think it was made at around $80 million, and it looks like a $250 million movie. That itself is an achievement, and the fact that nobody showed up at the theaters, even when the director toned down the budget. I don't know, like, people say that there's some problem with the Hollywood. I always say there's a problem with the audience. We have moved into a streaming world. Everything for us is Netflix, Prime Video, other streaming platforms. We will not go out to see a movie unless it's an event, period. Cinema is not dead. There are great movies that are out there, but because of the pandemic, because of the streaming, this all is happening. So again, but yeah, the creator was one of the victims of being a very good movie, but that flopped. I hope the Academy awards the movie with this particular win in best visual effects. The next category that we are going to talk about is best animated film. I think it's a done deal, but there's a close second here. So Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is my number one, and I think it should win, and I think it will win. But The Boy and the Heron is also winning a couple of awards at a couple of ceremonies. So I've not counted it out, but like, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a masterpiece. It's my number two movie of the year behind Oppenheimer. It should get nominated for Best Picture. Let's see what happens down the video. But yeah, if it does not win Best Animated Film, and I don't know, I don't think I have watched an animated movie that I've enjoyed as much as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in years. So I would be very disappointed. But yeah, I have Elemental as my number three. I have Nimona as my number four, and I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem as my number five. Then we have Best Editing. Here I have Oppenheimer as my number one. It's going to win. It's a done deal. Jennifer Lame is going to pick up that Oscar. Again, it's one of those categories that's it's just a done deal. Followed by Killers of the Flower Moon at number two, then Anatomy of a Fall at number three, Barbie at number four, and The Holdovers at number five. Like, if you look at this particular category, it's just amazing. The amount of these movies are just incredible. And I think the one that stands out here is Anatomy of a Fall. And I think that both Anatomy of a Fall and The Zone of Interest are going to get nominated in a lot of categories, which is very unusual for a foreign film. Like, it just gets to show how the Academy is expanding each year. And you will see more foreign films popping, not just at the Best Director category, not just at the Best Picture category, but even in editing and other categories that I have already discussed, and the ones that I'm going to discuss as well. But again, Jennifer Lame is going to win for Oppenheimer. The editing in Oppenheimer, like, I'm not sure if I've seen a better edited film than Oppenheimer, I think ever. Like there's a thing that Chris Nolan does with his movies regarding the editing from way back from Memento, even the editing in Memento, how it switches from back in time to present time to future time. The same thing happens in Oppenheimer as well. It's too brilliant, and how each scene connects to the next one despite being non-linear. I think that's the biggest quality of Nolan, and I think working with his editor Jennifer Lame, I think he has done an incredible job, and she has done an even incredible job. Like it's absolutely masterful. In Best Director, I have Christopher Nolan as my number one, followed by Martin Scorsese, then Yorgos Lanthimos, then Greta Gerwig, and at number five, I have Alexander Payne coming in and taking that fifth spot from, you could say, Bradley Cooper. Before I had Bradley Cooper, but I have seen that Bradley Cooper has lost a lot of steam, and the other directors are firmly in their place. So I had to remove Bradley Cooper and I had to put in Alexander Payne, which is so deserving. I have no problems with that. At one point, Maestro was gaining so much steam that I thought that it would get nominated for almost every category and it could win as well. But now I feel that it's losing a lot of steam, and that's why even a nomination for Maestro would be a win. Unfortunately for Bradley Cooper, he won't get nominated for Best Director this year as well. I don't think he was nominated for A Star Is Born, and he's not going to get nominated for Maestro as well. But yeah, the reason I'm talking so much about the number five spot is that there is no reason to talk about who's going to win and who should win. It's Christopher Nolan. It's a done deal. Best director is pretty boring. I think Yorgos Lanthimos and Greta Gerwig will get nominated, and that's the win for them. Martin Scorsese was always at the second place and at a very distant second place. If Killers of the Flower Moon was a masterpiece like Oppenheimer, then it probably had a chance. But because it's not as great as Oppenheimer, it's still a very, very good movie. I love Killers of the Flower Moon. I've made a video on how much I love it, but it's not going to it's not going to win this award. In Best Actress, I still have Emma Stone winning this Oscar, followed by Carey Mulligan at number two, Lily Gladstone at number three, Margot Robbie at number four, and I actually have Sandra Hüller as my number five. My number five is, I think it's not on everyone's list, but it's definitely on mine. I don't know why people are ignoring Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. Like she should be above actually. She should be at the number two or number three spot. That's how good her performance is. But the fact that people are not including her at all. If Anatomy of a Fall was a Hollywood movie, she would definitely get nominated. So the Oscars has to prove that if it actually has got an international, then she will definitely get nominated. So I'm pretty confident actually about all my five actresses. I think Sandra Hüller gets in. Carey Mulligan is my number two actually, and I actually have Lily Gladstone as my number three. I think many people are saying that she's going to win, but many people were shocked to see when she did not get nominated for the BAFTAs. She was not even nominated. Like it was such a shock to everyone and to me as well, just because of the buzz she's getting. But if you had asked me 3 months ago that she would not get a BAFTA nomination, I wouldn't be so shocked. She's excellent in the movie, but she's not in the movie that much. And depending on person to person, I've seen people say that she's the heart and soul of the movie and she deserves to get nominated, which is a very logical argument. But I've also seen people say that she's not that much in the movie to impact the movie. And I don't know on which camp I fall in. I just know that she's not going to win Best Actress. Like the Academy love making history, and that's the reason she could win. I can see that happening, but I think this is Emma Stone's year. I think she's winning. She's winning as much as Lily Gladstone, if not more. I think she has won more, and especially getting the BAFTA nomination, Lily Gladstone not getting the BAFTA nomination clearly makes Emma Stone, I think, the favorite for the Oscar. But yeah, this again, Lily Gladstone could actually win this. Now that I think about it, because the Academy love making history, and it would be a historic moment. But I still think Emma Stone is the front and center of Poor Things, and I think that she deserves to win. I think the one person missing out that I would love to have seen get nominated was Annette Bening for Naiad. Unfortunately, I just can't put her over Sandra Hüller. Like, if she gets him in, I won't be mad. I would be mad that Sandra Hüller got out, but I won't be mad that Annette Bening got in. Make that make sense? But yeah, uh, I would probably throw Margot Robbie out of this category and put Annette Bening in and Sandra Hüller in. I don't want to leave Sandra Hüller out. Like, there's no world that exists where I want to do that. So that's about the best actress category. Then we have the best actor category. And this is stacked. This is a toss up. I love this category. This one is one of my favorites because it's not at all fixed. Anything could happen in this category. So right now, I have Killian Murphy as my number one, followed by Paul Giamatti as my number two, then Bradley Cooper as my number three, Coleman Domingo as my number four, and Jeffrey Wright as my number five. The only change that I made was putting Leonardo DiCaprio out and putting Jeffrey Wright in terms of the nominations. And in terms of who is going to win, it's going to be a toss up between Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti. I would love to see Cillian Murphy win just because of the career he's had, but at the same time, it goes similarly for Paul Giamatti as well. Both of them have incredible stories, and in terms of career, I think it would probably be more fitting for Paul Giamatti to win. But I don't know, like it maybe it's my personal bias for Oppenheimer and for Cillian Murphy that I have him as my number one, but this is a toss up. Anything could happen in this category. So just because of my personal biases, I'm going to put Cillian Murphy as my number one and Paul Giamatti as my number two, but it's really a toss up. I won't be surprised if either of those win. I would be shocked to see Bradley Cooper win this. He has not won anything till now. I think Maestro till now has zero wins, a lot of nominations, but zero wins. Like I don't get the hate for Maestro, but again, it's not a movie that's deserves to win any awards. Like that's my opinion on where the film stands. But yeah, I think yeah, Coleman Domingo gets in, and Jeffrey Wright gets a nomination as well, and Leonardo DiCaprio does not get a nomination. And who would have seen that coming 4 or 5 months ago? Like that just gets to show how amazing this year has been, especially a couple of movies that you are seeing, The Holdovers and American Fiction. No one expected these movies to be as good as they are. Now it's time for the Best Picture category, and in this category, I'm going to count on from number 10 to number 1, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the movie, if I've seen the movie, and why I think it is in that particular spot. At number 10, I have The Zone of Interest. Now, I have not seen this movie because this movie is currently not available at my area. But as soon as it's available, I'm just dying to see this movie just because of the subject matter. It really appeals to me, these kinds of simple movies about terrifying subject matters. And because Best Picture is such an international category, everyone votes on it. And I think the international love is going to pour in for The Zone of Interest and also a couple of other movies as well. So The Zone of Interest is my number 10. I think it pops in other categories as I have discussed before, like sound and score, and it totally deserves to get nominated for Best Picture just based on the love it's getting from everyone and the number of nominations it has gotten in other categories as well. At number 9, I have another foreign movie called Past Lives. I've seen this movie. I love this movie. Probably not as much as the biggest lovers of the movie, but I do think that it deserves to get nominated. And number 9 is a pretty good spot as well. It's definitely going to get nominated, and it secures a very safe number 9 spot. At number 8, I have Barbie. Now, again, I don't want to keep repeating the fact that I don't love this movie, but I still like this movie very much. Personally, I would not nominate Barbie. I think there are many people like that. But again, you can't deny the cultural phenomena that Barbie is, and you can't deny that a lot of people love Barbie. Now, people would say that because I'm a man, I'm not liking Barbie. That's not the case. I showed this movie to my mom as well. She also is not the biggest fan of the movie. So it's not a thing about men and women. It's just a thing about how you see the movie and how you perceive the movie. Past Lives is also a very feminine movie, you could say, but I love for Past Lives much more than Barbie. Even though you could say that it revolves around the central female character, so it has nothing to do with gender. Barbie is still a very good movie, just not at the Best Picture level, but it's still going to get nominated just because of the phenomena it was. It was nothing like we've ever seen. I think it's a bigger phenomena than even Top Gun Maverick. Because Top Gun Maverick is a franchise everyone expected. I feel that the audience does not get enough respect in Hollywood. And the directors that respect their audience get that love from the audience as well. Take Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan never goes out and puts statements like Marvel movies suck or superhero movies suck and things like that. He understands that there is an audience out there who are craving for something. They're craving for an event film. Like I keep referring to the event film because I feel that the audiences today are going to get out of their homes only for those big movies. And by big movies, I don't mean the big budget movies because that's not true. I'm talking about the movies that have generated a buzz so real and so fantastic that they feel, no, I just have to go out and see this movie. I can't wait for this movie for streaming. just the social media buzz, the TikTok buzz, and everything. These factors play a huge role. And people would argue that only big movies can get that social buzz, but Oppenheimer is a very small movie. If you could see, if you can just see, the budget is also only $100 million. It's not 200 or 300 million. Killers of the Flower Moon was made at $300 million. Oppenheimer was made at $100 million. So there's an appetite for the audience to see these movies. Coming back to Barbie, it totally deserves to get nominated just because of the fact that many people love this movie. And this is not my personal list. This is a list that rewards movies based on the view of all the Academy members. And there's no denying that Barbie is an achievement in filmmaking. Now at number 7, I have Maestro. Many people, including me, had Maestro in my top 5. I think a couple of months back, but there's no denying that it has lost a lot of steam, and the movie is not as great as it should be to compete with the Best Picture winners or even potential winners. So yeah, I think the nomination is the win for Maestro now. I don't see it even threatening to win or even get into the top 5. I actually see it missing out. Like there's a potential future where it does not get in. But yeah, I still think it deserves to get in, and it will get in just because of the support and love for Bradley Cooper from the people in the Academy. Like I know that there's a thing going on online about hating on Bradley Cooper, but I do think that Maestro is actually a very good movie. It's not great, but it's still very good. And I think that Bradley Cooper deserves to get nominated here, because I think I told that he misses out on Best Director, but I think he will get a nomination for Best Picture. So I have Maestro as my number 7. In number 6, I have Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, 2 or 3 months back, many people said Killers of the Flower Moon is the number 2 or the number 3 movie of the in this particular category, but it has slipped down a lot. Like now it's just hanging in. It will definitely get nominated. There's no future where it does not get nominated, just because the movie is actually terrific. At number 5, I have Anatomy of a Fall, and this is that particular foreign movie that we all should watch out for this particular Oscar. It could totally win Best Original Screenplay, and I don't think it wins Best Picture, but it's there. It's there as the number in the second tier, I would say. It has more Oscar potential than Killers of the Flower Moon or Maestro or any of the movies that I've discussed below. And I think it's an incredible movie. Like I have not put a review out, but I'm going to make an analysis video on Anatomy of a Fall. Original movies like these don't come out anymore. And I think Justin Triet, who's the director of the movie, did an absolutely incredible job. At number 4, I have Poor Things. Again, I have not seen this movie because this movie is also not available in my region yet. I'm just waiting for it to drop in my cinemas or on streaming. I'll wait to see which one it drops on first, and then probably put a review out as well. But it's at number 4 just because of how it is being received by the critics and the cinephiles, I would say more. I know that many people don't like this movie just from the subject matter and just from the first 30 minutes. I've heard that many people tuned out of the movie, but I think for cinephiles and people who love the movie, they will watch the entire movie and get the point behind the movie. And I'm expecting to like this movie. Like I don't want to put high expectations on any movie before I go in, but Poor Things is one of those movies that when I watch, I'm expecting great things, because it's my kind of a movie. I like weird things. I like new things. One movie that we have totally not talked about in this video is Saltburn. I love Saltburn. I don't think it gets even one Oscar nomination, but I love it. It might be in my top 5 or top 6 movies of the year, but it will never get any Oscar love. But I love those kinds of movies. So I think Poor Things is right up my alley. But yeah, it's at the number 4 spot. Not going to win, not close to winning, but it's there. Now we are getting into the movies that can actually pull off the upset. And we all know who's the favorite here, but this particular movie at number 3, I have American Fiction, and it could totally upset my number 1. The reason I'm saying that is because of the amount of steam it's getting for the past, I would say, just for the past month, and the subject matter of the movie. Again, I've not seen the movie, but the things I'm hearing about the movie makes me think that this is a movie that not right now. Like if the Oscars were held tomorrow and the winners were decided tomorrow, it's not going to win. But a couple of months later, I think the Oscars are in March, so 2 months from now, I can see people buzzing more about this movie, and maybe after 2 months, it is actually a threat to win the Oscar. Right now, it's not a threat, but I see this as a potential threat. So my top 3 are those movies that could win the Oscar, and American Fiction is my number three. So at number two, I have The Holdovers. Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph have been sweeping in every category that they have been nominated so far. And when you have two performances that are so amazing with a potential of winning Best Original Screenplay as well for Alexander Payne. The Holdovers could win Best Original Screenplay, it could win Best Actor, it will win Best Supporting Actress for sure, and it could also get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor with Dominic Sessa. And there are a lot of other nominations as well that the movie is bound to get, maybe in film editing and a couple of other categories as well. So when a movie gets nominated in so many categories and it pulls off those crucial two or three wins, I would say that the original screenplay is a big one. If The Holdovers wins original screenplay, and obviously Oppenheimer is going to win best adapted screenplay, I think it's a war between those two movies, The Holdovers and Oppenheimer. I do think that if there's a movie that could potentially beat Oppenheimer, it's The Holdovers, closely followed by American Fiction. But I currently have Holdovers above American Fiction just because of the wins it's getting, and people just love this movie. I also love this movie. It's a very heartwarming, pleasing movie. Would I wanted to win Best Picture over Oppenheimer? No, I think Oppenheimer is a masterpiece unlike any I've seen for the past decade. That's a bold statement, but I think I can't stop watching Oppenheimer, guys. Like I've seen it 6 or 7 times, and randomly on a weekend I put on 5 minutes of this movie. I'm thinking, okay, I'll just watch this particular scene, and I'm going to tune out of the movie. I have to go to sleep. I have to go to work. But no, I end up watching the entire movie, and it does not help that the movie is 3 hours long, guys. I totally waste 3 hours watching Oppenheimer. I won't say waste. I love that experience, but after 3 hours, I'm like, oh my god, I have not slept. Everything gets shifted 3 hours. I'm late for work. My work suffers as well. It's not good, guys. It's not healthy to love Oppenheimer this much. But yeah, I have Oppenheimer as my number one. I think it's going to win this award. I think it's a clear favorite. It's a clear front runner. And as much as I'm talking about The Holdovers and American Fiction, Oppenheimer is the movie to beat in many, many categories. There could be a potential sweep where Oppenheimer wins 5 or 6 awards. So thanks for tuning into this video. I have a couple of videos coming out. One is my review on Society of the Snow, and the other one is after the Oscar nominations here, I'm going to put out a video of my reactions to that particular Oscar nominations, and we are going to see how much I got right in this particular video, and I'm going to compare those with the actual Oscar nominations. So yeah, thank you for sticking around. My channel also recently crossed 200 subscribers. I put a video out thanking you all for that as well, and a lot more videos coming as well from this channel. So again, means a lot that you guys are watching my content. I'm getting a lot of views. I'm getting a good growth in my subscriber count, and hopefully by the end of the year this channel gets monetized as well. Many thanks for watching.